Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, a call for churches to reopen their doors to worshippers. Newly launched political party, the APP, condemns what it calls gutter politics in the country. And Cardi warns COVID-19, prolonged drought and an active hurricane season could pose a major threat to the region's food supply chain. The details coming up.
Avec Flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagnez l'argent, on gros sac l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec Flow. Animez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et venez joindre Flow. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better. Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Giving away $40,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus $1,000 every Friday.
We're flowing better every day, and now we're making Fridays great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
First up in the news, Dominica's newest political party has condemned what it describes as the latest display of gutter politics in the country. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
The Alternative People's Party APP launched its website and online media presence on Monday with a 4-woman interim executive. Shortly after its launching, a photograph emerged which blemishes the reputation of one of the executive members. Interim President Tahira Blanchard says while the party expected criticism, this most recent attack on its youngest member's image is uncalled for.
4 powerful young women were introduced as part of the interim executive of the Alternative People's Party. And already, persons have chosen to resort to dirty politics in their effort to frame our proud Dominican women. We expected the criticisms to come, but what was not expected was the false impersonation and vicious denigration of our youngest member. There are many occasions when politics goes too far, and this is yet another sad example.
The APP's interim president called on the wider public to disregard the image being circulated and to focus on the message and principles of the party.
We firmly condemn this curious attack on our system. We further appeal to the conscience of the players who are behind the spread of the picture which falsely impersonates our system to reflect on the sort of newness that we intend to bring to politics on the island. One of hope, progress, unity, and love. This is a crude and cowardly way of waging a political battle, and it is not the sort of welcome which should be offered to young people who dare to be different. This seems to be the new norm in our political environment, and it is high time that we divorced ourselves from this filthy side of Dominica's politics.
A call for churches to reopen their doors to the worshipping public. Again, we go to Andrea Louis for the details.
The recommendation from the Dominica Business Forum, DBF, which recently submitted a list of recommendations to government as the country eases out of its COVID-19 lockdown. Anthony Leblanc, president of the Builders and Contractors Association of Dominica and member of the DBF, says consideration should be given to the reopening of churches.
One other thing that we mentioned was to also consider the religious state of our country and to allow people to practice their faith in a responsible manner. Some of our churches are huge. There's no reason we cannot have 6 feet spacing among parishioners, among churchgoers. There's no reason why we as Catholics or Christians or Muslims cannot act responsibly everywhere else except church. So we need to open that up and at least have some avenue for people to worship at least between 8 and 2. So that's something else that we asked for and hasn't been given. But we're hoping that the government will concede to that.
The Dominica Business Forum also believes now is the ideal time for the private sector to reassess and retool with the help of the authorities.
Until COVID is totally out of the picture, we are not normal. And this is the time that businesses, including the hotels and other persons in the tourism sector who cannot have any business now, it's a time to look at improving their plants, doing maintenance, looking at new ideas, retooling people, and so on. So all of that can be done, and the finance for that has to be given, because we cannot come out of COVID being the underdogs in terms of economic performance in the Caribbean anymore. We need to improve on that, and that's a good time. It's a good time to look at our businesses.
Businesses which do receive financial assistance are being urged to exercise proper accountability of such funds and use the incentive to grow the economy.
Any incentive given to other businesses should encourage in it those businesses to purchase locally, to engage local services. And that has to be an area where we can improve the economy, where we can come out of COVID better. And the last thing that we spoke about in terms of sectoral support is to encourage technical support as a stimulant for receiving financial support. Okay? It has to be tied to something. We have to encourage good performances. We can't just dish out money and see no results. We have to hold businesses accountable. We have to make sure the money is not wasted, that it goes somewhere and there's growth. There's export, there's increased employment, and so forth.
An appeal to governments and the wider public to hear the plea of nurses. This is the message from President of the Dominican Nurses Association, Mignon Rule Shillingford, on the recognition of International Nurses Day Tuesday. The theme for the day was Nurses, a Voice to Lead, Nursing the World to Health. Roel Shillingford says investing in the nursing profession is a benefit to society. The DNA president says nurses have gone above and beyond the call of duty during the current COVID-19 crisis as they recognize their role in combating the pandemic. The Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, last week convened a meeting of key personnel in judiciaries, prosecutorial services, states, agencies and bar associations throughout the Caribbean in an effort to assess challenges and needs arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. Co-sponsoring the meeting were the Jurist Project, the CCJ Academy for Law and the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. The virtual meeting was attended by more than 100 participants across 22 countries and was hailed a success by attendees. President of the CCJ, the Honorable Mr. Justice Adrian Saunders, opened the meeting. A significant role in organizing the event was also played by Apex, a non-profit agency established by the CCJ in 2017 to provide technology-enabled solutions and training to improve the region's justice delivery sector. You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
With Flow, win a bag of money, cash out, get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? Yeah. From Flow.
Yo, check this. Flow is giving away $30,000 in cash.
Oh, yeah.
2 bags of money plus $1,000 every Friday.
With Flow is better every day, and now we're making Fridays great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you wanna win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? Yeah. From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that. But the way you cover up also matters, and that means breaking a habit you've held near and dear all your life. Cover your nose and mouth with your flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue immediately. Then wash your hands. Help stop the spread of germs. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
A message by the Health Promotion Unit of the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Dominica.
Avec Flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagnez l'argent, on gros sac l'argent. C'est juste ça pour gagner un gros sac l'argent avec Flow. Animez on top up, sign up, quittez yo, et venez joindre Flow. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better. A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. While food supplies in the Caribbean are presently stable, Cardi's Executive Director Barton Clark says an extended period of the COVID-19 crisis, coupled with the ongoing drought and the predicted active 2020 hurricane season, will put the region's agriculture food supply chains on a precarious footing. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted agriculture value chains, threatening food security and upending livelihoods of millions of people around the globe. To contain the virus and safeguard the livelihoods of the population, regional governments have instituted a series of policy measures. The fallout from these impacted the region's agriculture sector, leading to surpluses of produce on farmers' hands, limited intra-regional trade and unemployment. Cardi's executive director says the Caribbean must set about producing its own food, promoting healthy food consumption, and look towards import substitution as viable solutions towards ensuring food security in these uncertain times. He says Cardi has developed a comprehensive plan that is structured to minimize any future disruptions to agri-food supply chains. Short-term measures are focused on providing the critical support needed to maintain the integrity of the food supply chains, while medium to long-term measures address long-term food security from the perspective of increased production, reduced reliance on imports, and resilience. The Institute has ramped up the production of planting materials for a variety of crops, including grain, legumes, corn, coconut, cassava, hot pepper, and sweet potato. These would be made available to commercial producers and home gardeners. The Caribbean agriculture sector has been dealt a severe blow by extreme weather events over the last few years. These crises, coupled with the prevalence of drought conditions, have thwarted the rebuilding efforts in many countries. With the hurricane season just a month away, the agriculture sector must be positioned, he says, to restart production with immediacy should any of the 18 predicted hurricanes for 2020 hit the Caribbean. And the University of the West Indies Sridhar Ramphal Center SRC in Barbados has teamed up with a Caribbean economist to develop a Trade Vulnerability Index TVI. The goal is to detect, measure, and ultimately quantify the degree of trade vulnerability of countries. This move follows a call by the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley at the end of April in a CNN interview where she used the world stage to make a clarion call for global leadership on the issue of vulnerability.
On the Vulnerability Index, the Commonwealth Secretariat has in fact settled on a framework since 30 years ago, 1989, 31 years ago. We believe it needs to be revisited, but we believe that you can't determine whether we need access to funding. Let me give an example. This Caribbean region has to pay out $8.8 billion in debt over this year and next year. in the same way that we want people to take care of the most vulnerable in the household. We want it in the country, and I'm asking you to help us do it internationally. That's why we need a global leadership initiative from Pope Francis and others right back to world leaders. That's why we need to be able to look at our debt and restructure it and repurpose. That's why we need to look and see that moral leadership is important in this world today. And that's why we need to ensure that the Caribbean does not remain invisible and dispensable, nor the South Pacific. And if our voices have to be spoken over and over and over to make this point, we shall not tire to do so, because what is at stake is human lives and the wellness and well-being of global civilization, as was envisaged 75 years ago when the United Nations was established.
Right. The CARICOM chairman called for the revived concept of a vulnerability index for validating small states' claim for special treatment in international relations.
Our situation is perhaps a little more unique because we suffer a number of risks. One, we are a highly indebted region, largely because we are perhaps the most travel-dependent and trade-dependent region in the world, with almost half of our GDP coming directly and indirectly, and our jobs, from tourism. Secondly, we are also on the cusp of the climate crisis. In fact, we are 4 weeks away from the beginning of the hurricane season. But what is little spoken about is that the climate crisis has also resulted in droughts and sargassum weed, which has meant a number of our hotel establishments and restaurants were already suffering before this pandemic. And now we add to this global pandemic. So that this is a peculiar moment for Caribbean states, not just Barbados. And it is one in which we hope we can summon the rest of the global community to recognize that it is now more than ever that we need to recognize that global leadership is needed and that we need to accept that these islands, as well as those in the South Pacific, are vulnerable.
The Shudaf Ramphal Center says, quote, the global health pandemic of COVID-19 gives credibility to and ultimately validates the relationship we have explored between vulnerability and trade using our TVI. It also justifies and directs a response by the international community to the COVID-19 that prioritizes the allocation of global resources to the most vulnerable.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Away $40,000 in cash, 2 bags of money plus $1,000 every Friday.
We're flowing better every day, and now we're making parties great. That's 3 ways that you can play. So listen up.
Top up.
$10 or more.
Sign up.
Just switch to Flow.
Get a plan.
1 gig or more. If you want to win cash galore.
With Flow.
Win a bag of money.
Cash out.
Get a bag of money. What you gonna do with a bag of money? From Flow.
So top up, get a plan, or switch now to win. It only gets better with Flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Avec Flow, gagnez l'argent, on partit l'argent avec Flow. Gagnez l'argent, on consacre l'argent. C'est avec flow. Animateur on top up, sign up, quittez yo, every video join flow. It only gets better with flow.
Flow terms and conditions apply.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines, a call for churches to reopen their doors to worshippers. Newly launched political party, the APP, condemns what it calls gutter politics in the country. And Cardi warns COVID-19, prolonged drought and an active hurricane season could pose a threat to the region's food supply chain. You may access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.